think people want California to be a great place. They want it to be a place of California dreams and Hollywood and the Walk of Stars and Disneyland. They want California to do well, but it's not.
Well, no, it's not. And the good news is that Gavin Newsom's numbers have never been lower. They're the lowest of his career as governor. Unfortunately for me, it took 2 years for that to happen. And the two reasons that most people cite, Mike, crime and homelessness. As I mentioned before, we've got about a third of the nation's homeless problem. We've thrown a lot of money at it. There's a way to solve this, but he has not figured out a way of doing this. And of course, we have crime. So for the first time, he's had falling poll numbers. It just took 2 years too late. My hope is that at some point, like a drug addict, the average left-wing voter in California will hit rock bottom and realize they've got to change their ways. Excuse me. There hasn't been a Republican who's won statewide in California in 20 years. Not a single statewide office is held by a Republican. And we have a supermajority of Democrats in both chambers of our legislature. And we get one brain-dead bill, one job-killing bill after another. And sooner or later, the vote is going to have to wake up. And I keep hoping that maybe I'll be around when that happens.
Yeah, on homelessness, just the other day, he unveiled a new homeless plan. And he said, listen, when I came into office, there wasn't a homeless plan. There was no homeless plan in place. And it's like, well, yeah, Gavin, because 15 years ago, there was no homeless problem. Of course, there was no plan. A buddy of mine in the 70s moved to Venice Beach. There were weird people in Venice Beach, but there are no homeless people in Venice Beach. You can't walk down the boardwalk of Venice Beach today. So there was no plan because there's no problem.
Well, that's right. And he's invited everybody to come to California, no matter what kind of resources you have or you don't have. You have all sorts of government benefits. And every one of these plans involves construction of housing at much higher cost than would otherwise be the case if it weren't for the rules and regulations, A, and B. It's as if the problem is simply not enough housing, when in fact, a lot of the people on the streets are mentally ill or they're drug addicts. They need to be treated. There's plenty of money for that. There's plenty of money for beds. We need to enforce the law. You have one of two choices. Either you're going to go to rehab, you're going to go to counseling, or you're going to go to jail. And we're not doing that. In fact, he's lowering penalties for people who are in the streets doing drugs. At one point, before Proposition 47, a cop could go up to you if you're homeless doing meth and say, either you're going to go to jail or you're going to go to rehab. But they've removed that last option because they've reduced that kind of activity from a felony to a misdemeanor. So now no longer can you tell a homeless person you've got two options. Either you go to jail or you get up off the street and you go to rehab. Now they look at you and they say, okay, and if I don't go to jail, what are you going to do about it? And the answer is nothing. And at that point, after Proposition 47 passed, which Gavin Newsom endorsed, and which, by the way, his former San Francisco DA, George Gascon, wrote, after that bill went into effect, homelessness in California took another giant leap.
Is Gavin Newsom running for president? Yes, of course he is. He's an incredibly ambitious person, and he's charismatic. And he's also got quite a God complex. Not a great triplet of things to have. He's very dangerous. He cannot be our next president. We expose all of this in our latest special on thefirsttv.com/exposed.